happy to be here. I have to tell you that this was my second grade classroom with Ms Hoffman. This is our graduating class at Lake Bluff School. A long time, I'll pass it around. 1928, I started at Lake Bluff School. I was born in 1924, and we came here when we were 4 years old for the 4-year-old kindergarten, which was something very new in education in those days. Nobody went to school at age 4. So you might know that Shorewood would be a good place to live because they felt 4-year-olds were ready for school. The Lake Bluff School was a wonderful school to walk to. And you know, Shorewood was a much smaller village then, and there weren't as many houses as there are now, and hardly anyone had a car. On the other side of the school where the playground is now, near the kindergarten building or whatever that new building is called, early ed building, there was a round pool, and it was about this deep. It was in the playground, and we used it in summer for swimming and wading and having a good time. It was quite big. It was almost as big as this room, and they filled it with water every summer, and we had a wonderful time. We'd take our towels out and put them on the lawn there. Everybody would swim, and a lot of us learned to kind of float in that, and we had good time because all of our friends came on hot summer days. We'd all meet at the Lake Bluff School wading pond, and right behind it in the wintertime was a big skating rink. Do you still have an ice skating rink?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was quite big. It was a big rink. And then there was a warming house there, which we call the hotting house. That's where we all went when we went skating. You put your skates on in the warming house.
Yeah,
and I think, is there still a little wooden building there? That was the hotting house. And then when 6th grade came, we graduated from Lake Bluff School, and we all walked over to Shorewood High School. And there was no middle school then, so we all started 7th grade at the high school. And it was very exciting to be with all these fancy seniors and good high school football players and basketball players. And here we are, we were all these 7th graders. But it was nice, and we all loved it. I loved Lake Bluff School, and I liked the teachers. Had wonderful experiences here. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Did you have like music and stuff?
We had music. Miss Knight. And Miss Knight went on to be quite a famous music teacher. When she left Lake Bluff School, she taught at UWM at the university. And we also, do you have Clef Club now?
No.
You don't have a music group? Well, we had Clef Club, and Miss Knight would be our teacher, and we would go around town singing for different groups. And where I'm living now, called the Protestant Home for the Aged, sometimes from Lake Bluff School we went there to sing to the people, the senior citizens. So when I go in that room, I think, one day a long time ago, I stood here and sang for the people. So it was kind of fun. Anything else?
What's your principal's name?
Beulah Delight Kobler. And Beulah Delight Kobler was a wonderful lady, and she always called her Beulah Delight Kobler.
That's just a very nice. Do you have any blackboards?
We had they were called blackboards, and they were chalkboards. But you want to know something? When I was at starting school, they only had white chalk. Colored chalk hadn't even been invented yet. And I think when I was about 3rd grade, they came out with colored chalk, which we had a wonderful time when colored chalk came. This was fun.
If your teachers strict or not?
They were all strict, but they were nice teachers. They were wonderful teachers. But they also had, well, they needed to be strict because, you know, you get a whole group of kids this age, and if you don't have some somebody there to say, this is what you do and this is what you don't do. Things just fall apart.
Did you have field trips?
Yes. And, well, we never went very far on field trips because nobody had a car. But we would walk. We walked to Atwater Beach, which was just being built then. We walked to Estabrook Park. Oh, we went downtown to the museum on the streetcar. And that was a day's outing. We were gone for the whole day to the museum.
Did you have a shuttle like that?
No, I think that was a very good idea though. I think the teacher told us in the morning what the schedule was.
How many rooms was there?
This part was built up to the front entrance. And it was this side and the other side, and behind it was the playground. But remember, Charlotte was quite a little village then, and just becoming very populated. And I think most of the streets had about 3 or 4 houses on them, but now, you know, every block has a house on every lot. There's lots of houses. Well, there were not as many houses, but there were a lot of woods and lots of fun places to hide and play hide and seek, and there was a lot of places to climb on trees in the summertime.
Was the field like full of trees?
Yes, there were a lot of places to climb trees, except that when they planted new trees here on the church, on the school grounds, we didn't dare climb on those trees, because some of the boys tried it, and boy, they said, you can't climb on these brand new trees. Climb on some of the older trees that are around here in the woods, not the new trees here.
Did you have to wear certain clothes?
No, but we all, I think, well, girls all wore knee socks in those days. And I think we all wore skirts, pleated skirts and knee socks.
Like white aprons and stuff like that?
Well, maybe at home if we were helping Mom in the kitchen or something, we wore an apron, but not to school.
How many people were in your class?
28.
Did you have to wear a dunce hat?
Did you ever have to wear a dunce hat?
No.
Did you ever get whacked by the ruler? Yeah, ruler.
I never did, but I know I saw teachers do it on your fingers, but it never happened to me. I guess I must have been pretty good. Well, very often if it was a really bad thing, and I don't think really bad things happen very often, they would be sent to Miss Kobler's office, the principal, and then she would call your mom or dad. But I don't remember a lot of misconduct. I really don't. I think we were all we liked what we were doing. We liked why we were at Lake Bluff School, and we enjoyed school, and we're happy to be here.
What was your schedule like?
Well, when we came in the morning, we all sat down, and then usually the teacher would tell us what the schedule was for the day. Today we were going to do math or arithmetic, and then we were going to do social studies, and then we're going to write, and then we're going to read. And we usually knew in the morning what was on for the day.
What did you do for lunch?
We went home, always walked home for lunch. And I think we had an hour.
When did you come
Yeah,
back?
and in the winter time, it always took a little bit longer because walking was slower then. There would be a sidewalk here and the street here, and right in between there would be a big snow mound. So of course, instead of walking on the sidewalk or walking in the street, we walked on the snow mound. We made a trail all the way home from Lake Bluff School. No one walked on the sidewalk or the street. It was more fun walking on the snow pile.
Did you have specials?
Yes, and they still have a fireplace in the library, and we always, in wintertime, there was always a blazing fire in the fireplace. And Miss Barnes, which I always thought her name was kind of fit that she was a librarian, Miss Barnes, she would pick the book that we would be reading, and we'd all have semicircles with chairs around the fireplace, and then she'd be in the middle. And after we had our time to pick out a book to take home, she would read. And it was, I think, library was 2 days a week. And it would be for an hour and a half. So we all loved library day.
Did you play leapfrog?
Sure, it was fun. And the playground, that was fun to play. There's a boy back there with a yellow shirt on.
Edgar, what kind of technology did you have?
Technology?
Phones or
Well-
like the announcements system.
Like that.
Did they have an announcement system that they could
Oh,
make
yes,
announcements?
yes, there was
from
an
the office?
announcement system. Technology, well, I think there was a telephone in every room. I know that because once in a while parents would call about something about their child and would talk directly to the teacher on the telephone from their home. I don't think they do that anymore, do they?
Sometimes we have phones.
Did you play clapping games?
Clapping games. Well, give me an example.
Like patty cake or something?
Like patty cake?
I don't
Sure,
think so.
sure.
Like,
Patty cake, baker's man.
yeah, that. Like that.
And what was the next one comes after that? Something, show me a fool, can if you can. You,
No, make a cake as fast as you can.
yeah. I guess I must have played that because I sort of remember it.
How many teachers were there?
Well, there was one teacher in each classroom, except gym teachers. There were always 2 for gym, or PE. One was a man and one was a woman. And when we had Coach Driggett, that's when we learned to play baseball, we learned to play basketball, and they had a climbing thing from the ceiling. And when we went for gym or PE, we had to climb up that thing to the ceiling. And it was not easy for girls. Boys did it much better than girls did. Don't ask me why. It's probably because we had a dress on. We always wore dresses. So we climbed to the ceiling. But we had to do that. And in order to get out of Lake Bluff School, I guess you had to learn to climb to the ceiling. And then, of course, once a week, the whole school would get together in the gym. And the gym was in a different place then. But we would all go there and we would have some good program. Somebody would come in and speak to us, or there'd be a short movie or something of interest to young people. It was great. I loved the assembly meetings. And now one of the pictures that I brought, where is that? This lower picture, I'll pass it around. It shows a whole bunch of girls in costumes. We used to have classes where we had dancing lessons, and then we'd give programs. You want to pass it? And the upper picture is our graduating class from Lake Bluff School. My friends from Lake Bluff School were my friends my entire life.
Wow.
The girls that were my friends when we were all married and all had kids. And one of my best friends lived in the house right on the corner across the street, a pretty little Cape Cod house. That was my best friend Margie Melander's house. And Margie and I were friends until Margie passed away a couple of years ago. I'm 91 years old, so I don't have a lot of classmates left anymore. But that's why I'm so happy to be here and see my school, Lake Bluff School. Oh, the Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, his name was Bill Rehnquist, and I dated him in high school. And one of the things that he took me to was the Milwaukee premiere of the movie Gone with the Wind. I'll never forget that evening, never. But he became the Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court.
Wow.
And I started dating him as a senior in high school. And he was a terrible dancer. I remember that he invited me to a dance, and I thought, that's where he danced. We had a picnic when we finished 6th grade here, out on the grounds there. And that was a lot of fun. Oh, I see you're having music today. You have music every day.
No, we have, We have music twice a week, PE twice a week.
Do you leave this room
Mhm.
and where do you go?
The music room is upstairs on the other side of the building.
Is it a big room?
It's actually about this size.
Because see, there was no gym when I was here. So it was they made it into 2 classrooms, but at the first floor at the very end, it was one big room overlooking the playground out there. And that was the gym. And that's where the rope hung from the ceiling. So we did a lot of walking and hiking. I guess we were all pretty healthy kids. It was a good time to grow up, but I think every time is a good time to grow up. And you kids you're very fortunate, you're very lucky to have this beautiful school system and all these good teachers, and you're getting a good education. Feel good about what you're learning, because you'll remember it for the rest of your life.
Did you have a clock?
Were there clocks in each classroom?
Yes. I think that's the same clock. I think it is.
Did you maybe go to the bathroom in there?
Yes, it was used. You know what this was then? There was no wall here, and it was a great big kindergarten. And there was a bathroom in each kindergarten. There was also, I know that it's gone now, but at one end of the kindergarten, there was a pretty tile tank that was built. It was about this deep, it was green tile, and there was water fountain coming out of the wall, and in that tank was fish. And we were allowed to sit on the edge of the tank, but that's all we could do. And then years later, there were 2 kindergartens, and there was one in each kindergarten. They were told that that was a very dangerous thing to have in a classroom with small children. So the fish ponds were removed from both of the kindergarten rooms, but the bathrooms remained.
Was there like a bulletin board outside the classroom?
Did they have bulletin boards outside the classrooms or in the
What?
bulletin boards?
Oh yes, there were bulletin boards out in the hall. And if there were special announcements that we were told, do you have a PA system in here so you can hear from the office? Yeah.
Yes.
They would say, go and look at the bulletin board, such and such a place. And especially when they had something that they wanted parents to know from you, they would tell us to read this on the bulletin board and go home and tell your parents what we read. So we were pretty privileged kids. We were allowed a lot of time on our own and things that we could do. It was not real strict. Because I had friends who went to religious schools where it was much more strict. I thought I was very lucky to be at Lake Bluff School.
Let's give our special guest a nice round of applause.
Thank you.
And what can we say to Classroom Place for her coming to visit us?
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. I thank you, I do. I thank you, I do. Oh dear. Sorry, I've got a horsey old voice now.